Hey, hi friends, welcome back to the B.ScIT M.ScIT question and answer series. Myself Guru, and today we're going to see the topic from a B.ScIT question paper, that is explain the concept of pass by value and pass by reference with a simple example. So this was the same question was asked in October 2010 for 8 marks. So it is very important questions. So if you have any queries or any doubts regarding this topic, regarding this pass by value and the pass by reference, feel free to mail me on gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. So let's begin our session now. So before we get started the concept of pass by value and the pass by reference, let's understand what are value types and what are reference type basically. So because it is related to the concept, and if we don't have a knowledge about the value types and the reference type, then it is difficult to understand the pass by value and the pass by reference. So let's understand what are value types and what are reference type first. So let me write that in my notepad. Value types. Reference type. Value types and the reference types. Value types, as a simple one-liner definition, a data type is a value type if it holds the data in its own memory location. Means if it holds the value in its own memory location, that data type is known as value types. Let me show you a simple example on that. Let's say, okay, before I show you an example, let me just tell you value types, data type of a value type, like structures are value types, integers are value types, S-byte is a value type, boolean is a value type, double is a value type, and so on. All these data types are the value types. Okay, these value types are get allocated on the stack. Stack is a memory location. So there are basically two types of memory location, one is stack and the one is heap. Reference type usually get allocated on the heap part, whereas value types get allocated on the stack. Stack consume less bytes of memory, whereas reference type, because it's a dynamic allocation, it consumes more memory space. So let me show you a simple example of a value type, as we are talking about value types. So let me just say integer is a value type. So let me just declare int j equal to 5. Now this is a value type, because j, a variable, integer variable which holds the value in its own memory location directly, because now the j is holding the value of 5. So that's why this is a value type. Okay, so data type is a value type if it holds the value in its own memory location. So this is all about the value types. Now let's talk about the reference type. Okay, a reference type has a one-liner definition of a reference type, that it contains the pointer to the another memory location which holds the data. So what do you mean by that? Let me explain with the simple example. Let's say I have an integer variable j which is holding the value 5. Now let me just declare a object variable x. Okay, now this x is pointing towards another memory location. Now it is pointing towards, let's say, j, whereas j is actually holding the value 5. So it means, as a definition, it contains a pointer to the another memory location. Means my object x is a reference type which contains a pointer. Means my object x is connected to j. Means my object x is pointing towards another memory location. Means it is pointing towards j, which is holding the value 5. Means this variable, this value 5 is not directly connected to x. Means it is connected by via, means it's like a via, means this x is connected to j and j is connected to value 5. So that's why my object x is a reference type. So as a one-liner definition again, it contains a pointer to the another memory location which holds the value. My object X is a reference type which contains the pointer J, where else J is actually holding the value 5. So this is all about the reference type. The reference types in C# such as classes are reference type, objects are reference type, interfaces are reference type, delegates are reference type, dynamic data like array list are reference type, arrays are reference type, list generic collections are reference type. All these are known as reference type. So let me show you one more example of a reference type. Let's say I have an employee, class employee, and if I declared a variable, a value type variable inside this class, okay, so as we know that this integer value is a value type and this class is a reference type, so whatever variables are declared inside the scope of a reference type, that variable is automatically get converted into the reference type. Means whatever you declare, whatever the value types are declared inside the reference type, that value types will automatically get converted into the reference type. So this is eventually is known as a reference type only because it is being declared under the class scope. So okay my friends, so this is all about the value types in the reference type. So if you have any doubts regarding this, this value types and the reference type, feel free to mail me on this email ID, that is gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. So let's continue with our session, that is concept of pass by value and the pass by reference. Now that you have understood the concept of value types and the reference type, it will make you easier to understand this concept of pass by value and the pass by reference. So let's understand that. So the concept of pass by value and the pass by reference, in C# is known as passing parameters. So if anybody asks you about the passing parameter, then you should answer it that there are two types of passing parameters, that is pass by value and the pass by reference. So pass by value and the pass by reference is known as passing parameters. So first let's talk about the pass by value. So let me just open up my notepad and let's write pass by value. So pass by value. So what do you mean by pass by value? Means to a method or a function we need to pass a value. So it can be done in two ways. One is pass value type by value, this is one type, and pass value type by reference, this is another way. So to a method or a function, when we pass value type as a value, it is called as pass value type as value. So when we pass value type by reference to a method or function, it is known as pass value type by reference. One more point in pass the value type by reference, one more point in this, that is when we pass value type as a reference we need to use two types of keyword, that is ref and out. Ref and out, these are the two prefixes being used when we want to pass the value type as a reference. Okay, so now let's talk about the ref first. When we want to pass the value type as a reference by using the ref keyword, then the calling method or a calling function assume that the input value is already been set before only, like this. Input value is equal to 5, calling method using ref keyword value. So the calling method or a calling function assume that this value is already been set before the method is been called or a function is been called by using the ref keyword. Now let's talk about the out keyword. When we use out keyword, then it is the duty of a calling method or a calling function to set this value. Here the value is already been set. Now here the value will be set by the calling method or a calling function. So this is the difference between ref using ref keyword or using the out keyword when we want to pass the value type as by reference. So on this, on this pass by value, let's see a simple example and let's try to use this ref and out keyword. So let me just open up my Visual Studio 2010. I am going to demonstrate this example in my console application. So to create the console application, I will be using my Visual Studio 2010 Ultimate Edition. So to create the console application, I will go to my file, new, I will say project. So as you can see that my language type is Visual C# and my framework is 4.0, and let me just give the nice name, passing parameters. So my console application is being creating. So as you can see that my console application is been created successfully with some default libraries and with the nice namespace passing parameter. Inside that I am having a class program with a static void main method. So let's do this, that is pass by value. So now let's do the examples one by one, that is examples of pass value type by value and then pass value type by reference. So let's do one by one. So for that, let me just create an integer value, that is test val equal to 5. Now let me just display that initial value because I am going to modify that initial value in my further methods. So I am just displaying my initial value is my test val, because this value will be further modified in the upcoming methods. So I have just displayed the initial value. Now our first topic is that pass value type by value. So let me, for that, as I told you as a one-liner definition, that we need to pass the value type as a value to a method or a function. So for that, let me just create a method, a static method, void pass value by value, and let me pass our input as val, and let me just say val. Now let me just multiply that val and console.writeLine. Let me display the value. Now let me just call this method in my main method and let me pass initial value. Now let me just build this. So my build is succeeded. Let me just show you the output. As you can see that my initial value is 5 and my pass value by value output is 25, because we have multiplied that value with inside the method. So 5 into 5 is nothing but 25. So we have achieved our pass value by value successfully. Okay, now let's go to another topic, that is pass value by reference. That is this one, pass value type as a reference. So in order to do this, in order to achieve this value type by reference, okay, we need to use two prefix, that is ref and out keyword. So let's do that one by one. So for that I'm going to create the two separate method for ref and out. So let me just do that. So first I'm going to demonstrate pass value type by reference by using the ref keyword. So as I told you, okay, so when we use ref keyword, when we use ref keyword, it is assumed that the value is already been set. So let's check that by using the ref keyword. Now int val by using the ref keyword. So let me just change the name here, pass value by reference by ref keyword, let's say. So now let me just change this. Now let me just build this. Okay, and let me just show you the output of this. Okay, now let me just display the initial value also. Okay, here we go. We are done with my pass value by reference by using the ref keyword. So as you can see that in my static method I have used the ref keyword followed by a data type val, and I just did the addition. Okay, and now let me just check the output. So output for this should be 60. Okay, now let me just check that. Yes, so output is 60. As you can see that my initial value is being changed, so that's why I have displayed this initial value previously only. Our previous initial value was 5. Okay, and when we pass this value by reference by using the ref keyword, as you can see that my initial value is changed to 60. So that is the big change. So when we pass our value as a reference type, by using the ref keyword, our value is also gets changed. So this is the effect. You can see when you pass the value as a reference type by using the ref keyword. So this is about the passing the value by reference by using the ref keyword. Now let's do the same example by using the out keyword. So as a one-liner definition, as we know that input method or a calling method will set the value, this value. So let's do that by using the out keyword. Let me change this keyword as out. Now this is you need to see, just see. My IntelliSense of Visual Studio is showing that error use of unassigned out parameter val. It is telling me that val, this val is not been set because I am using this out keyword, as you can see that here. So use of unassigned out parameter val. So we need to assign this val before we can use, before we use this val we need to set this val. So that's what this out parameter says, out keyword says. So let's do that. Val equal to, let's say, 35. Okay, so we are done. Now let's check the output. So pass val by reference by using the out keyword. Now let me just change this here. let me just comment this, and let me use by using the out test val. Okay, we are done. Now let me just display the output. So as you can see that our output is 90 and our initial values is also got changed to 90. So this is the effect you can see when you use pass value by reference by using the out keyword. Our initial value was previously 5, and when we pass that value to our pass value by out method, the value was changed. So that effect you can see, when we displayed the message of initial value after the passing the value to the out parameter. So this is all about the pass by value. So pass by value is of two types, that is pass value type as value and pass value type as reference. So if you want to pass, in order to pass the value type as reference, we need to use ref and out keyword. So now let's understand pass by reference. So let's understand pass by reference now. So reference, pass by reference is same as we did for pass by value. Okay, so we can pass by reference by using value and by reference. So pass by reference is divided into two types, that is pass reference type by value, pass reference type as reference. So when we pass the reference type as reference, we need to use the two prefix, that is ref and out keyword. So on this, let's see the simple example and let's try to understand how we can pass by reference. Let's understand the concept of pass by reference. So in order to do this example, I'm going to create another console application. So let me open up my Visual Studio 2010 and let me create another console application project, console application, passing parameters to, let me say okay. So now pass by reference, so we need to use reference types, means we need to use class or delegates or array list, we need to use that type of examples. So here I am going to use a class. Here I am going to create a class, simple class, to demonstrate this example. So let me just do that. So for a time being, I have already coded this class, so I have just copy pasted from my source code. So this is a class employee which has got the employee code and employee name. So as you can see here, my employee name and my employee code, and I have a simple constructor which has got the input parameter of employee code and employee name. Means by using this constructor I can set these values of employee code and employee name. So now let me call this class in my main method, that is employee obj employee. I'm creating the object equal to new employee, and I will be setting the value as employee code as, let's say, 8, and the employee name is, let's say, Quest Pond. If you are looking for any .NET training, then come to Quest Pond. Quest Pond is the right solution to give you complete .NET solution. So as you can see that in my constructor employee, I have passed the two parameters. I have set the two values, that is 8 as employee code and my Quest Pond as my employee name. Now let me just display this value as the initial value as we did here, so every time whenever we have passed this test value to any of the method, we have just displayed the values, initial value, because we need to check the effect, whether my initial value is changing or not after I am passing the value as by value, after I am passing the value of reference, so here also we need to do the same thing. Whenever we pass the value as reference, we need to check whether our initial value is changing or not. So the initial value, let's say initial value is 0, 1, that is obj dot employee code, obj dot employee name. Now let me just display the initial value first, just to check everything is perfect. Yes, it is perfect. So my initial value has been set with my constructor values, that is 8 and correspond as employee name. Now let me create a new method, a static method, that is pass reference by value. Here in our previous example of pass value by value, when I have passed the value as value, let me just show you again. Comment this here. Just see, my initial value was 5. When I passed that value, okay, to my pass value by value method, my output was changed to 25, but my initial value was that only, that is 5. Okay, now let's check the same effect, whether my initial values will be the same after I pass the value to my value method, or will it be changed. Let's check that. Okay, let me create a static method, public static void pass value by value. Okay, and static. Okay, now let me pass my employee object here, obj emp, and here I'm going to change my value inside here. So obj emp dot employee, let's say code is equal to 9, and my employee obj employee dot employee name is equal to, let's say new updated correspond, and now let me just display that value. Okay, my pass value by, I'm sorry, I need to change this name, method name, my pass reference by value. So we are talking about pass reference by value. So this is my method pass reference by value. Now let me just call this method in my main method, and let's check the effect. Obj, and let's check the initial value will change or not. Okay, we are done. Now let me just build this. Build is succeeded. Now let me just show you the output. Okay, my friends, as you can see that my initial value previously was 8 and correspond, and when I pass that object to my pass reference by value method, okay, my values are updated. I got the new value from my method, that is 9 and updated correspond. Okay, that is fine, but my initial value was changed. Can you see that? My initial value was changed to 9 and updated correspond. So when we pass reference type by value, you know, the initial value will also get affected, you know, the object will totally get changed. But here, you know, when we pass the parameter as value types, you know, I'm sorry, as value type as value, and you know, just check here, our initial value was 5, and when we pass the value type as value, you know, our output was changed to 25, but our initial value was remained the same. But here is not like that. Here it is something different, you know. Initial value was correspond and 8. When we pass the reference as value, our values get updated and our object is also get changed to 9 and updated correspond. So this is the effect, you know, this is the effect when we pass the reference as value, because it points to the another memory location which holds the value, and the reference type values get affected, you know, when we update something, you know, when we modify something, that reference objects will also get affected, you know. So now let's do this one, that is passing reference type as reference by using the ref prefix. Let's do that. For that, let me just copy this here, and let me use a ref prefix here. By ref, and now let me just call this in my main method. Now let's check the output. Okay, it is the same output, you know, we got passing reference by using the ref keyword. So as we got in our pass reference by value, you know, so objects are changed, objects are updated when we pass anything as reference. So now let's check by out keyword by using the out prefix. Now let's repeat the same procedure for our by using the out keyword, that is pass reference by using the out prefix. Now let me just copy this here, and let me just say declare a variable obj2, and let me just declare new instance, because as a definition of, you know, by using the out keyword, you know, as we know that the calling method or a calling function need to set the value. So I'm doing the same thing, out, so I will say 5 and quest, and let me just show you the output. By out keyword, and let me just copy this here and show you the output. Let me just call this method here and let me just show you the output. Okay, I'm done. I'm just displaying the output now. So as you can see that the same effect as we got in our pass reference by value and pass reference by reference by using the ref keyword, and we got the same result here also, pass reference by using the out keyword. So as we know that the reference type, it contains pointer to the another memory location which holds the value. So this is all about the concept of pass by value and the pass by reference, that is passing parameters. So this was the same question was asked in October 2010 for 8 marks. So if you got any queries or any doubts regarding this session, feel free to mail me on gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. So any doubts, let me know. Okay, thank you very much.